Whenever. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us, either in person or those viewing the meeting on Hartford Public Access TV. I'm now calling to order a regular scheduled meeting for April 22nd to order. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bulladoo.
Here.
Councilman Clark.
Here.
Councilman Gale.
Here.
Councilman Hernandez.
Here.
Councilman Mictum.
Here.
Councilwoman Rosado.
I know she's
Present.
here. There she go.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Here.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Here.
Councilman Thomas.
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Can we stand and say Pledge of Allegiance?
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Council President. I make a motion to approve the minutes of April 8th, 2024.
Second.
The motion is made and properly second. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bulladoo.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Mictum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Excuse me, motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Council President. I make a motion to place the following items on consent. 3.2, Mayor Ali Lamplam with accompanying resolution to accept a grant from the United Way of Central and Northeastern Connecticut for the Emergency Food and Shelter Program. 4.1, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee with accompanying resolution calling for more electrical vehicle charging stations in Hartford. 4.2, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Bashik Mukad to the Planning and Zoning Commission. 4.3, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Joseph Linhart to the Planning and Zoning Commission. 4.4, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Commission with accompanying resolution to request an update from the Fair Rent Housing Commission. 4.5, Operations Management, Budget and Government Accountability Committee with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Sean Wooden to the Pension Commission. 4.6, Operation Management, Budget and Government Accountability Committee with accompanying resolution for the enhancement of the City of Hartford's website for improved access to daily meetings. 7.1, Council President Shirley Curlin, Surgeon.
Thank you.
Resolution to appoint Council President Shirley Surgeon to the Operations Management and Budget Accountability Committee.
Thank you, Madam Majority Leader. Motion, hello? Anybody gonna second the motion?
Second.
I thought it was already seconded.
She just made the motion and anybody second it.
Okay. Councilman Mitchum just seconded.
Motion has been made and properly second to place the following item on the consent calendar, item 3.2, 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, 4.5, 4.6, and 7.1. Any discussion on these items on the consent calendar? Seeing and hearing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bulladoo.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Mictum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
I make a motion to receive the following items. 3.5, Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, communication concerning a presentation from the Hartford Business Improvement District. 3.6, Operations Management and Budget and Government Accountability, communication concerning ordinance amending the anti-blight and property maintenance program. 3.7, Operations Management and Budget and Government Accountability, communication concerning a resolution for the introduction and support of a pedal pub service by local franchise owner in Hartford, Connecticut. 3.8, Operations Management and Budget and Government Accountability, communication concerning general fund budget and capital improvement program, ordinance of appropriation for general fund, ordinance concerning appropriation in the capital improvement fund, ordinance tax levy on list of October 1st, 2023. 3.9, Operations Management, Budget and Government Accountability, communication concerning resolution on promoting awareness of tax abatement provisions for vehicle taxes under Connecticut General Statutes, Title 12, Section 12-124. And 3.10, Operations Management, Budget and Government Accountability, communication concerning resolution of the Hartford Court of Common Council for reviewing and amending handicapped parking policies and meter charges in collaboration with the Hartford Parking Authority and disability rights organizations.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and properly second. Seeing or hearing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bilodeau.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Mictum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
I make a motion to refer the following items to the Operations Management and Budget and Government Accountability Committee. 3.3, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying resolution authorizing the submission of the list of community programs eligible for the 2024 Connecticut Neighborhood Assistance Act NAA Tax Credit Program for the Connecticut Department of Revenue Services. Public hearing on Thursday, May 9th, 2024 at 6 p.m. To Committee of the Whole, 3.1, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying resolution confirming the appointment of Jeffrey T. Cavello as Director of the Department of Emergency Services and Telecommunications. To the Planning, Economic Development, and Housing Committee, 3.4, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying resolution approving an air rights and sidewalk easement for the pedestrian bridge over Washington Street, a 3.24 review and public hearing, Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. 6.1, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying ordinance establishing the Hartford Land Bank Authority, public hearing, Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. To the Health and Human Services Committee, 6.3, Councilwoman Kelly Bilodeau, Councilman Thomas Clark, Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon, Councilwoman Marilyn Rossetti, Councilwoman Molly Rosado, and Councilman John Gale, ordinance concerning an ordinance amending Article 4, Section 17-76 of the Municipal Code of Hartford for the prohibition of smoking around splash pads and playgrounds. Public hearing Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m. That's it.
Second.
Okay. The motion is made and properly second to refer the following items, items 3.3 to the Operation Management and Budget Committee, item 3.1 to the Committee of a Whole, item 3.4 to the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, item 6.1 to the Planning, Economic Development and Housing Committee, and item 6.3 to the Health and Human Service Committee. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing none, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bilodeau.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Mictum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
I make a motion to postpone the following items. 5.1, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying ordinance amending the anti-blight and property maintenance program. See item 3.6, still in committee, need to postpone. 6.2, Mayor Aru Lamplam with accompanying ordinance establishing Juneteenth as a city holiday. Public hearing Monday, May 20th, 2024 at 7 p.m.
Second.
Thank you. The item, there's a motion on the floor to postpone item, and it's properly been second, item 5.1 and item 6.2. Any discussion? Seeing and hearing no discussion, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilwoman Bilodeau.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Migdon.
Yes.
Councilman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Madam Majority Leader.
Take action on, a motion to take action on 4.7, Operations Management Budget and Government Accountability Committee with accompanying resolution calling for the Hartford Town Clerk to mail absentee ballot applications and essential information to each registered voter in the city prior to the presidential election to ensure maximum public awareness and participation.
Second.
Thank you. Item is made and properly second. Any discussion? Councilman Gale.
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. This is, as one of the sponsors of this resolution, I want to speak in favor of passing the resolution and explain briefly the intent behind it. This is a voter engagement initiative. If this council passes this resolution, we would be the first legislative body in the state of Connecticut to take action to increase voter engagement and participation in this manner. What we would be doing is something that other states have been doing for quite some time. There are many other states that already provide voters information in advance of their elections so that the voters are both aware of the fact that there's an election and are made knowledgeable of what is on the ballot. I know that I have distributed to many of my council colleagues an example of the voter education that is done, the voter engagement that is done in the state of California. This is a copy of that. In California, they actually send out a booklet to every voter in the state in advance of every election. Every election. And it's a booklet. This particular booklet is 34 pages long with all manner of information. Frankly, this is the kind of thing that the state of Connecticut should be doing. Borders on shameful that we're not, but we're not. And so it is incumbent on the city of Hartford to be a leader and to take the lead and to do something very modest, to do something that begins the evolution of moving Connecticut to a time when we would also send something like this out to every voter. This resolution proposes to send a one-page, two-sided, in Spanish and English, informational sheet to let every voter in the city of Hartford know that there's an election coming up on November 7th, that it's for the President of the United States, and you get to vote for Senate and a congressperson and a state senator and a state representative and even a registrar of voters. It's a very modest proposal. And at the same time, this proposal would send every voter an absentee ballot application. This proposal has been vetted by the Secretary of State, by the State Elections Enforcement Commission, by our own corporation counsel and our town clerk's office. There's been no objections raised to the passage of this resolution. Hartford has the lowest voter turnout in the state of Connecticut. in discussions with someone today, I actually speculated that it may very well be the case that Hartford has the lowest voter turnout in the entire United States. That's a long shot, but I would say this, because we have 169 towns, there's no other state that has such small municipalities as Connecticut. And so I'm willing to bet we're pretty darn close to the lowest voter turnout in the entire United States. And it's time for somebody to do something about it. We've done countless voter education programs, countless let's get the vote out programs, and none of them seem to move the needle. I ask my colleagues, what is the downside here? What is the downside of passing a very modest resolution that begins the evolution of moving Hartford to a point where we push the state to do what it should be doing and getting education, engagement into the hands of every voter? My God, why else were we elected but to do something? We sit up here day after day, council meeting after council meeting, and we approve resolutions submitted to us by the mayor. We approve aspirational resolutions that each of us submit. But what do we do? What do we actually do? Now, I've heard a concern about dollars. This is a $50,000 item. We just approved $50,000 to move a bronze plaque from one side of Main Street to the other side of Main Street. This is our budget. I took a quick look tonight at the city council budget. Our budget. Now, you all got elected 2023. City council budget in 2021 was $594,000. You know what that council budget is this year? $978,000. Do the math, ladies and gentlemen. City council, we are increasing our budget by $384,000. Now, we don't have enough public here to ask the question, what are they getting for it? What is the public getting for $384,000 when this body can't even take a little teeny step and move forward to try to get more voter engagement so there are more people out there voting for you, or maybe voting against you? It should pass. I hope it does. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Gale. Let me respond to a couple of things you spoke on. I have been the past registrar for the city of Hartford and election officer for the city of Connecticut for numerous years. When COVID happened, we mailed out from the Secretary of State's office absentee ballot application to all the millions of voters throughout the entire state. Couple of things when you send out an application. I do applaud you for wanting to increase our voter turnout in the city, but there are some cons to mailing out the voter application. Even though you will have included in the mail directions and what to fill out for the absentee ballot application. There are 5 reasons in the state of Connecticut that you have to check one of the boxes when you vote by absentee ballot. Those are, if you're an election officer for the day, you're working in the election, sickness, you're out of town, religious belief. Now, if one of those boxes are not checked when you apply for the application, even though we will, I'm sure you would include directions on how to fill out the application. Here is the issue. I mail my application in. I'm waiting for my ballot to be sent to me. Those boxes are not checked. It's up to the town clerk to make sure that application is filled out completely and correctly. The city of Connecticut is looking at improving or no excuse voting. What that means is that you will not need to check one of those 5 reasons when you fill out an application. So when you look at no excuse voting for the other states who have mailed out application, it works. And until the state approves no excuse voting, and a voter does not check one of those boxes, or even check one of those boxes, and that information they've checked, they're testifying and signing that application that what I testify and sign on that page is true and correct. Should it be proven wrong? If they may check it's because of my sickness, that's why I can't go to the polls, they can be fined. The state of Connecticut instituted 14 days of early voting. Now, I know, getting to the polls may be difficult for some people because they may work out of town, but there's going to be 14 days that anyone can go in and vote. That opportunity to increase our voter turnout is available. So it's no longer one day you can go and vote, and your choice of doing an absentee ballot application. If you fill that out incorrectly, you forget to put your date of birth in the application. It's rejected. The town clerk gonna have to follow up to make sure all information is filled out incorrectly. Again, that's gonna prolong you getting your ballot. You mentioned in your statement that in 2021, that was 3 years ago. This is because we're now in 24-25 budget. This council's budget has been flat for the last year. So let's go back and look at 2021 when you mentioned that $591,000. You voted for the same budget last year, Councilman Gale, at $978,000. This council year has not raised their budget. So if you're saying that over the last 3 to 4 years, that we can't spend $50,000 to include all voters in the city and give them an opportunity to vote, I disagree with you. Because I want to make sure that when those voters come out and vote, they don't get themselves in a bind. I also want to mention that the younger voters have an opportunity to go online and fill out an absentee ballot application. There are so many different ways people can vote that mailing out to all the voters in the city of Hartford an application opens up somewhere that a voter did not read the directions, and they may again, fill that out incorrectly. So that's why one of the reasons I am opposing this resolution of you requiring that all voters in the city be sent an absentee ballot application. So I do applaud you for increasing and want to increase engaging our voter. We all want the same things. But one of the things I do know, and that is opportunities been offered to the voters 14 days, getting an absentee ballot online. And I certainly want to make sure that our Register of Voters office really, go out and do voter education. And when you say we have lots of voter education, but nothing is working. Well, when you run for office, one of the things you do is you door knock and you inform voters to come out and vote. I know I did last year. And I know lots of my colleagues did the same thing. But there's other issues that goes along with people not coming out to vote. And we have to take a look at our city when you're a homeowner and 24% of our city have, are homeowners, and majority of our city are people who are not homeowners, we have a lot of education we have to do. When we did and mailed out during COVID, all the applications throughout the state, we had so many return application that was returned back because of voter change of address. There was hundreds. Our voter rolls needs to be updated. The registrar is in charge of getting that done. Every year she sends out an application to say, make sure your address is correct. But this mailing out of applications to all the voters, I have a problem with that. Because I know until no excuse voting is passed in this state, the voters are going to have to make a choice for those 5 reasons I mentioned. And if they don't fill the application out correctly, they may have some issues. So I'm urging my colleagues to really think about how they're voting. Think about that. We all care about increasing our voter turnout in this city. But how we do so, we have to look for better ways of doing so. So thank you. Anyone else, any comment? Yeah. Hi, Councilman Mitchum. How are you? You're on.
I'm all right. I have a comment.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. So I appreciate that Council President mentioned that we were all out door knocking. I would hazard that there was no one knocking doors more than myself and Councilman Gale. I was doing it because I wanted to get him out. But I have to admit, he is spot on with this resolution. It's a very good idea. I support it very strongly. It's just a really smart, sensible, inexpensive, in terms of the city budget, thing we can do. And I have to say, having listened to Council President's exhaustive and thoughtful listing of why she's voting against it, I didn't hear one thing there that actually cuts against this resolution. What I heard were that we have to do more than this resolution does, which I agree with, that there are other things we and the state are doing to increase voter turnout, which I also agree with. And, that doesn't mean we shouldn't do the thing that is proposed here. By the same token, the outside risk that some people who would never have seen an absentee ballot before will now see it and fail to follow the instructions, that's not really a reason not to give them the absentee ballot. That's like saying we don't trust our voters to follow the instructions. I mean, they could still go get absentee ballots now without having them mailed to them and still fill them out wrong, right? That risk exists. Anytime a person has to follow instructions, they might follow the instructions wrong, and some small complication might ensue. But that's not a reason not to give them broader access. I mean, so suppose some people fill it out wrong or they fail to check one of the 5 reasons, and then they can't vote absentee. Well, that's where they would have been if they never got the absentee ballot in the first place. So we certainly haven't set them back by sending them the absentee ballot. I just can't fathom why we wouldn't do everything in our power and our purse to increase voter participation. And frankly, if people get the absentee ballot and they fill it out wrong and it gets sent back, or they see that they don't qualify to vote absentee, we've still moved the ball forward. We've still told more people we might not have told, who might not have known, that there's an election coming. And I agree with Councilman Gale that when you vote against measures that increase turnout, that increase participation, that reach people who weren't reached before, it really suggests that maybe you don't actually want everyone to vote that much. I've complained about this a lot coming from outside the Democratic Party in this city, because I know that a lot of folks who don't pay a lot of attention, if they vote Democratic automatically. as I would if I didn't pay a lot of attention. I'll die before I vote for a Republican. But that is a system that makes it very easy to not have very many people vote if you're a Democrat. If you're on the inside and you know you have the people you need in the party to put you on that ballot, you're set. And that is what it feels like here. And I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what it feels like to vote against this measure. It feels like a vote from people who are comfortable rather than people who have been pounding the pavement and who recognize that more votes, more voters, more participation is always better than less. Always, every time. I would stand by that. And if more voters meant that I lost my seat, worth it. Because I want a robust democracy. I want everyone who can to know what's going on, to know who we are and what we do, and to hold us accountable. So I urge my colleagues to vote for this resolution.
Thank you, Councilman Mitchell. Any other comment? Thank you, Councilwoman Rosado. Please go ahead, ma'am.
Thank you, Council President. So I've been listening to everyone, and I agree with what everyone has said. What Councilman Gale said, Councilman Mitchell, when Council President spoke. But, when I look at this, I take myself out of that bubble and I look inside, right? What if I was a single mom at home with 2 jobs, not really educated because I'm too worried about how I'm going to feed my family. And I got this packet home with an absentee ballot and a flyer telling me who was going to be on the ballot. And I took the time to read. This could be a really good pilot for all of our future elections. Everyone would look at what an absentee ballot is. I know, before I got into politics, I didn't even know what a ballot looked like or how I had to fill it out. So, I support what everyone's saying, but I don't see the harm in voting for this and sending it out to every voter in the city of Hartford as an educational piece. And this is, a presidential year. So I hope that my council colleagues support it. I know that I've been speaking with a lot of individuals out there asking them, what they thought about getting this in Spanish. And believe it or not, there are a lot of people that are excited about it because a lot of times it's language barrier. Believe it or not everyone has access to a computer, and people still rely heavily on mail. And sometimes navigating the system and the state is not the easiest thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Any other comments? Sister Majority Leader Clark.
Thank you, Madam President. Through you, I think there's still some hesitation regarding voting on this item right now since it's still new. And I don't think that there's quite a consensus yet. So I will make a motion to postpone this item.
Second.
A motion has been made and properly second. Any other discussion? Seeing or hearing none, Mr. Clerk,
Quite
please.
just a point of order for the Corp Council. Is the motion to postpone debatable?
Well, the item is on action, and so there's no action, no items taken. If there, we can vote to postpone it, if there's no action taken.
No, I'm not objecting to the, I'm
Oh,
not objecting,
okay.
I'm not objecting to the motion to postpone, and I'm not actually offering to debate it. I just am wondering as a point of order whether a motion to postpone is debatable or whether we just vote on it. I don't think it's debatable, is it? It's not debatable.
Madam President, my understanding is that a motion to postpone is not debatable.
It's not debatable, thank you.
In which case I stand silent.
I'm sorry?
In which case I stand silent.
Okay, you stand silent. So the motion on the floor is to postpone this item. Mr. Clerk?
Councilwoman Billadou.
Yes.
Councilman Clark.
Yes.
Councilman Gale.
Yes.
Councilman Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilman Mictum.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rosado.
Yes.
Councilwoman Rossetti.
Yes.
Councilwoman Surgeon.
Yes.
Councilman Thomas.
Yes.
Motion to postpone passed.
Right, I believe that is all the items that we need to take up. Don't forget, we have been in the budget hearing process. Council members have been holding budget hearings. The Chair of Management and Budget Committee, Councilman Hernandez, what do we have coming up this week for budget hearings?
Yes, I'd like to remind our public that on April 24th, this Wednesday, we have DPW and Capital Improvement Plan, followed by on Thursday, April 25th, we have the Board of Education. There's been some minor changes, so please pay attention. On Monday, April 29th, we're going to have the Families, Children, and Youth Department, along with Metro Hartford Innovation Services and Internal Audit. Then we're going to follow on Wednesday, May 1st, with the Hartford Public Library and Hartford Parking Authority, followed by Thursday, May 2nd, Office of the Mayor, Chief Operating Officer, and City Treasurer, and the last date for public department hearings is on May 6th with the Corporation Council, Register of Voters, and the Town of City Clerk.
I thought we had MHIS already, so we had MHIS already. Didn't we switch that for
Oh,
HR?
yes, I'm sorry. We did switch Metro Hartford Innovative for HR. So on April 29th is HR, Internal Audit, and Families, Children, and Youth, not MHIS.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, Sir Chair. Don't forget also that on May 7th, we have our final budget hearing that's going to be held at Weaver High School. I do hope the residents will come out and give us their opinion on the budget. This concludes the council meeting. Thank you very much for joining us. Meeting is adjourned.